Thank you.
Great, great. Thank you. Simon Wardley.
Thank you very much. Crossing the river by feeling the stones. Has anybody heard of my work before? Wow, that's like 20%. That's amazing. So my question is, what would you use to navigate? Visual map or a verbal story? What would you do? What do you think we tend to use in business? Stories, okay. I want you to imagine you live in a world where everybody plays chess, and how well you play the game determines your success in the world. But you've never actually seen a chessboard. All you've seen are these characters on a screen. And you play the game very simply, you press a button, pawn. And your opponent sees what you've pressed, and they press a button, pawn. And then you press a button, pawn. It's a very boring game. And then they press a button, queen. And then this will go on and on and on and on until somebody wins, or more likely, it's going to be a draw. So what's going to happen is you're going to learn all these secrets of success, and you'll be doing this for about 10 years, and you'll play a total novice, but they will see something magical. They will see the board. Now you'll press pawn. See that? They'll press, and you'll see, oh, they press pawn, all right? You press pawn, okay? And they press queen, you've lost. What's your reaction going to be? I'm Themistocles. I'm giving you purpose and moral imperative. We must defend against the invading Persian horde. And then I say to you, I don't actually understand the landscape. I don't understand the environment. I don't have a map. But have no fear, for I have created a SWOT diagram. What would you use to communicate and determine strategy in battle? Position and movement described by a map, or some magic framework like a SWOT diagram? All right, what do we use in business? So in business, we tend to exist in what I call a low-level, well, certainly I did, a low-level situational awareness environment. It's all storytelling, secrets of success, magic frameworks. Now, chess is all visual. It's the board. It's context-specific. It's the game at hand. It's all about position and movement. It's a bit like the military. If you ask a general, why did you bomb that hill? They're not going to tell you, I read an article in General Weekly that bombing hills is the latest thing. They're not going to tell you, these consultants gave me a report saying 67% of other generals are using AI, bombing hills. They're not going to tell you, well, we bombed that hill because that's what Uber would do. It's all about position and movement, okay? It's all about the importance of why. Well, that's an interesting statement because there are at least two whys. There's the why of purpose and the why of movement. And they are different things. So if you think about a game of chess, your why of purpose might be to win the game. Your why of movement is, do I move this piece or that piece? And it's through movement and action that we actually learn what works and what doesn't work, assuming we can actually perceive the environment. So I had loads of maps in business process maps, mind maps, strategy maps, systems maps, loads of them. This is an example. This is a system map for one of our lines of business. Now, I'm going to do something magical here. We've got customer, photo storage, website, CRM, customer relationship management. I'm going to color that box in, and I'm going to move it. How has that changed the map? No? If I take an atlas and I shift Sydney and put it next to Munich, does that change that map? Why doesn't it change this map? Because it's not a map, it's a graph. Pretty much everything I had in business, which called itself a map, was in fact a graph. I'm afraid we keep using that word, and it doesn't mean what we think it means. So how to create a map. So I took a systems diagram, I gave it an anchor, I put the customer at the top. Next, I need position. So what I did was a chain of needs. A customer wanted online photo storage, which required a website, platform, compute, data center power. So what I've got is a chain of needs. This needs that, needs this, needs that. So I've now got anchor and position. And then what I needed was movement. So I put an evolution axis at the bottom, because it turns out that forms of capital, it doesn't matter whether it's activities, practices, data, even ethics, all evolve through a common pattern. So in the terms of activities, the stages of evolution, we call it the genesis of the novel and new, custom-built examples, product and rental services, commodity utility services. So now what I've got is anchor, position, and movement. And that is a map. Now, as things evolve, and they create higher order systems, create new sources of worth, those things evolve. The patterns reapply, and their characteristics change. So we start off in this uncharted space where things are chaotic, uncertain, unpredictable, and eventually the same thing, doesn't matter, money, penicillin, computing, ends up over in this space. Industrialized, ordered, known, measured, stable, standard, dull. See, Agile in-house development's very strong over here, where things are constantly changing because it's good at reducing the cost of change. But it's weak over there, where Six Sigma is strong, because that's good at reducing deviation. And both of them are pretty poor in the middle, where your more lean methods are thinking like Scrum and MVP and other artifacts, where you're focused on learning and reducing waste. So what you learn is there's no such thing as a one-size-fits-all. Not Agile everywhere. So I'll give you an example, HS2, high-speed rail. Big, heavy engineering project. James Finley, CIO. That's the systems diagram for building the entire railway in a virtual world. Now, James's problem was this. Should I outsource it all? Should I use off-the-shelf products? Should I build it in-house with Agile techniques? Or should I use some sort of combination? Now, the problem is, in that simple diagram alone, there are 387 million possible permutations. So which one do I choose? So he turns it into a map. This is back in 2012. Right, we outsource the stuff on the right. We build off-the-shelf products, and then we build in-house with Agile techniques on the left. Pretty straightforward. I.e., we use appropriate methods. Now, of course, everything will evolve. So our methods and techniques will change as those components evolve. I'm going to pretend you're all from finance and I'm IT. So I'm giving you a self-driving car, a systems diagram for a self-driving car, which I've translated into Elvish. Now, I want to work. I want to collaborate with you. Should we outsource or build our own? A, should we outsource, build our own? B, what do you think? Give me some input. Yes. You've no idea. This is what people do. They actually answer that question. It costs us hundreds of millions. Okay. That's the mapping form. Exactly the same, but now in mapping form. Should we outsource, build our own? A. Outsource. Should we outsource, build our own? B. No, build your own. Okay? Does that make sense? Simple, isn't it? And then what you discover is that culture is different. There's no such thing as one-size-fits-all magic culture. So it turns out we use a system called pioneers, settlers, town planners. The type of attitudes you need over here are different from the middle, different on the far right-hand side. Where to focus and where not to focus. Now, this is a question of flow. It's critical to focus on evolutionary flow before you do process flow. Is there another solution? Use standard racks. Okay? This is the thing of managing evolutionary flow. What they're doing is managing process flow. And I see this everywhere. Billions are spent optimizing, removing bottlenecks on completely the wrong flow. So why do we keep getting things wrong? It's very simple. Process flow diagrams, business cases, The problem with these things is they have no context. They do not show you the landscape. If you have purpose and direction, if you make small steps, if you understand the landscape as you go along, you will get better and more effective at this. And those words are basically crossing the river by feeling the stones. Have purpose and direction, take small steps, understand the landscape as you go. And this is what Deng Xiaoping was talking about.